The topic for today is, what does it cost you if you don't do it? Again, what does it cost you if you do not do it? What I'm talking about today is your goals. I'm talking about goals. In life, we all, at some point, I would imagine that you have all have set a goal before. And the reason why I wanted to come to you live to talk about this today is because I was watching an interview earlier today. So I was watching this podcast. It's called the Social Proof Podcast. And David Shands was interviewing this guy by the name of Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone is a very, very successful business owner. I think in the interview he said he's worth $2.3 billion, or he has $2.3 billion in assets. And so he was interviewing this guy by the name of Grant Cardone. And Grant Cardone had did this show called Undercover Billionaire. I think the show was on Discovery, the Discovery Channel, if I'm not mistaken. And so as he was interviewing him, they were talking about how he secured this TV deal. He said that he had been wanting this TV deal for 10 years. He said he had been wanting a TV deal. He had did a lot of things in his career, but he said the one thing that he wanted to do was to actually have a TV deal. So the Discovery Channel reached out to him, and he goes to this meeting, and he's like, man, I got to get this deal. I got to get this deal. So he goes to this meeting, and as he goes to this meeting, he says that he had to make sure that he secured this deal. And so they were talking to him, they were interviewing him. They were saying that, they were getting ready to decide whether or not, it was going to be him or if it's going to be somebody else. And he said that he did not want to leave this interview without making sure that he was going to be the one that they chose. So he did something really crazy. What he did was that he took $1 million to this interview with him. I think he said he had four bags, $250,000 in each one of these bags. And when the lady asked him, told him about what was going on, she said, hey, this is what you have to do. The concept of this show is that we drop you in the middle of nowhere. You can't use your contacts, none of your resources. You can't have your cell phone, none of that right there. We're going to give you all new things. You can't use your name. You can't use anything that got you to be the billionaire that you are today. But you have to make $1 million in 90 days. And as a successful business owner, they're trying to see if you can actually do it over again. So what Grant did, he said, man, I had to make sure that I secured this deal. So what he did is he said, you know what? He says, if you make it 10 million, don't make it 1 million. He says, make it 10 million in 90 days. He says, not only make it 10 million in 90 days, he says, I'll actually give you $1 million if I can't do this. He says, I will give you $1 million if I can't build a $10 million business within 90 days. Not only that, he says, another thing that I would do, he says, I will buy everybody that's in this room, I'll buy all of you your dream car if I can accomplish this goal. And the lady looked at him, she was like, are you serious? He says, I don't play games. He says, you dang right, I'm serious. She was like, wow, why would you do that? She was like, because he was like, I want to do this. He was like, this is something that I really want to do. And when David was interviewing him, he was asking, he was like, man, tell me a little bit what went into the mindset of you actually doing that. He says, man, this is something that I wanted to do for a long time. But he said another thing is, he says, I don't let anybody put a cap on me. He was like, I was in sales a while back, and he was like, a manager told me what my quota was for the month. And he said, I told him, I said, you don't make my quotas for me, I make my quotas for myself. He says, you don't know my potential. So when you put a quota on me, you're saying that that's what my potential is. But he says, I don't even know my potential. So I'm going to make my own quotas. And so when that lady came in there and said it's $1 million, he says, no, I'll make my own quotas. He says, make it 10 million, right? And not only that, he actually created some more pressure for himself. He says, make it $10 million versus the $1 million that you said it's supposed to be. And he says, I'll do it. And not only that, he says, I'll buy each and every single one of you cars. One of the things that he described in that, he was like, man, I had to secure that deal. He said, I had to put that anchor in there to make it to where they said yes to me. He was like, because I'm not the only person that they're interviewing for this. He was like, after this, they're going to interview somebody else. And he says, I want to make sure that I don't leave this interview without them saying yes to me. And he said he had that $1 million cash on there. And the lady said to him, she said, you're going to be the best one that we've ever done. and he secured that deal. And so the one thing that I want to sort of elaborate on that, because I don't want to just get on here and talk about that. I want to talk about creating your own urgency, because a little bit after that, watching that interview, I had a conversation with my cousin, and we were talking about some of the goals, that we had. He's out in California, working on some music. And then this just sort of spurred something in me. I was like, man, a lot of times the reason why we don't accomplish the things that we want to accomplish in our lives is that, it's not costing us anything. Like your dreams aren't costing you enough. And because it's not costing you enough, then we don't put the effort and the energy. What was Grant going to lose if he did not secure this deal, or if he didn't follow through with actually, building this business in 90 days? He was going to lose $1 million of his money. He was going to have to spend, I think he said it was like $1 million in cars. So he was going to lose $10 million if he did not do what they were requiring of him to do. And he said, man, he said, I like to put myself in a vacuum. I like to put an immense amount of pressure on myself. He says, I like to overcommit and then overdeliver. He says, I like to overcommit. So when he said that, he said, when he went from 1 million to 10 million, he says, I was overcommitting. When he added that $1 million on there that said he was going to give it away, he was overcommitting. When he said that he would buy everybody in their cars, he was overcommitting. And in the same way, we have to create this sense of urgency when it comes to our goals and when it comes to our dreams, because it's not costing us enough. And what do I mean by that? So I was talking to my cousin about this, and I was like, man, I'm in the midst of recording some videos. And so I'm creating a video course. And I actually had a deadline at the beginning, right? I had a deadline and said, hey, I'm going to finish these videos within this date. But guess what? I didn't finish those videos at that date. And so guess what I did? I created another deadline. I said, all right, you know what? This is my next deadline. I missed the last one. I'll just make another one, right? And guess what I did? I made another deadline. Did I make the next deadline? Right? You can guess it. I didn't make the next deadline. And so what I realized is that my dream, my goal, there was no consequence if I didn't make it. Like if I didn't accomplish that goal, I didn't lose anything. Nothing happened. Guess what? I just make another deadline, and I didn't make that deadline. And if I didn't make that deadline, guess what? Nothing happened. And I talked a lot about this concept in the last time about patience. A lot of times somebody asked the question is like about patience as it relates to our goals. And I said something to the effect that it's important to have patience with yourself to go through the process. But I said the second part to that is not to give ourselves too much patience that we negate the work that it takes in order to accomplish that goal in the time frame that it takes to do it. So if you can do something within a week, then don't allow yourself patience to say, you know what? I didn't get it done in a week. Guess what? It'll be next week. Because the reality is that you can do that in a week. If you couldn't do it in a week, then more than likely you wouldn't have set that goal. And so a lot of times we give ourselves too much patience. And I'm a prime example of that in this goal that I'm talking about with you all of creating these videos within a certain amount of time. I gave myself too much patience. And not only did I give myself too much patience, I didn't lose anything when I didn't accomplish that. And the one thing that I want to ask you when it relates to you is, what are you willing to risk to get it done? What are you willing to risk to get it done? Because in that conversation, I was like, man, I've already set 2 deadlines as it relates to these videos. And I said, so you know what? I said, man, I gotta risk something. I said, I gotta put something on the line. And so what I said is that this is what I'm gonna do. I said, my deadline to create these videos is by next Sunday. So today is the 11th. I have until the 18th to get these videos done. And I told him, I said, if I do not finish this within this certain amount of time, I have to send you $500, right? I have to send you $500 if I do not do that. Now, do you think I want to send him $500? You best believe I don't. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm creating my own sense of urgency. I'm putting myself under an immense amount of pressure, not just for the sake of putting myself under pressure, but for the sake of realizing that, hey, I have to get this done, and I can't just keep putting it off and keep putting it off, because if I keep doing that, if I keep allowing myself to have this extreme amount of patience that I've allowed myself to have, then this is never going to be done. And it's not going to allow me to get to the end result that I'm trying to get to. I have to risk something that I value. And guess what? I value my money. Okay. And I don't know about you. Do you value money? I'm pretty sure you value your money, right? So since you value your money, and since I value my money, I am going to put a lot more effort this week that I've been putting in the last couple of weeks to make sure that I get this done. The number one reason why? I don't want to lose my money. I don't want to lose my money, but more importantly, I want to accomplish my goal. And so I'm willing to risk putting my money on the line to bet on me that I can actually get this done. I'm willing to put my money on the line that says that, hey, if you do not do this, then it's going to cost you something that you value. And that's what I sort of want to sort of elaborate on just a little bit, is that when it comes to your goals, what have you risked? What have you risked in the past? Have you given yourself a lot of patience? Have you extended deadlines because you did not reach it? Right? Have you continued to do that? And what does that say about our goals if we're willing to just keep putting them off and not putting the work that it takes in order for us to get it done? Right? It doesn't say a lot about our true feelings or our true desire to actually accomplish that if we just continue to keep putting it off, and putting it off. The reality is that if we continue to keep doing that, there's going to be a point in time to where we wake up and we realize that, man, like, I'm not excited about where I'm at. I'm not excited about this goal. I didn't accomplish the goals that I have for my life, not because they were not able to be accomplished, but because I did not hold myself to the fire. I did not risk anything. I didn't lose anything. I just set goals, and it was just a good goal, right? It's just a good goal. And a lot of times, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, we have goals in life, but they're really just good goals. They're just good goals, right? They're just good goals because we haven't allowed ourselves to commit to that thing fully. We haven't allowed ourselves to commit to that thing fully. And when we allow ourselves to commit to something fully, and even overcommitting, as Grant talked about, then we'll find ourselves actually taking more action that we need to take in order to actually see these goals out, to see these things come into fruition. And so a couple of things that he said within there is that he said, I had to make my goals public. He said, I have to make my goals public. And I want to sort of challenge not only myself, but also challenge you all as well. Are you willing to risk making your goals public? Right? Are you willing to risk making your goals public? Because like, we have to have some type of accountability. We have to have some type of accountability. A lot of times when we do this, is really self-accountability is what we're creating, right? Self-accountability is what we're creating. Are you committed to your commitments, right? Are you committed to your commitments? And when you create this self-accountability for yourself, you'll find yourself having these patterns to where you're just in seasons of doing, and you'll have a lot of momentum within your life because you continue to do, and you continue to do because you've committed to the process that it takes, and you haven't given yourself this over patience that allows for you to just be okay if it doesn't get done in the time frame that it should take to get done. So one of the things he said is that you have to make your goals public, right? You have to make your goals public. I'm in a coaching group. It's called the Morning Meetup. And every day, well, not say every day, but one of the things that they encourage us to do oftentimes is to actually post your goals on social media for the day. And so, like say, for example, if my goal was to record this video, I say, hey, my goal today is to record, go live and to actually upload this video to YouTube. That is my goal for the day. And a lot of times we don't like to make things public, because when we make things public, that means that more eyes are going to be on it if we don't do what we say that we're supposed to do. Hey man, what happened with that video? I didn't see you go live. Like, what happened with that? And we don't, be honest, we don't like people being in our business like that. We don't want people asking us, man, why didn't you do what you said you was going to do? Because like, who wants to have that conversation that, you're not a person that is doing what you said that you want to do. Nobody wants to do that. So instead of having people say, why didn't you do what you said that you were going to do? You just have to be a person that actually does it. Does that make sense? You just have to actually go through with it. But it's when you make those things public, make those goals public, that you now put your feet to the fire that says, man, I got to do this because I don't want the result that happens if I do not do this, right? You have to be willing to risk something in order to make sure that you accomplish the things that you want to do with your life. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be an example for what I want you all to do. And so I have 2 goals that I'm looking to accomplish. Thank you all for tuning in. I have 2 goals that I want to accomplish. The first goal that I want to accomplish is that I have 11 videos that I have to record by next Sunday. I'm making this public, right? So I'm putting this out there for everybody to see it, for anybody to be able to reach out to me and say, did you accomplish it? Did you get it done? I'm putting some fuel to the fire, right? I'm adding a little bit more heat to myself because it's important for me to get this done. I've given myself enough patience, and I don't need patience anymore. I need more action. And so I'm actually going to go public with what I need to get done. So with that being said, I need to record 11 videos by next Sunday. All right? I need to record 11 videos by next Sunday because I have a video course that I'm putting together. And I had a certain timeline that I wanted to be done because without the course being done, it doesn't allow us to move on to the next phase of what we're doing within our business. So guess what? My inaction is holding up everything else. It's holding up everything else. So I'm going public because I don't need any more holdups. It's time for us to move forward. It's time for us to move forward. And I got to just be completely honest. I'm the reason why we're not moving forward. I'm the reason why we're not on the next step of what me and my wife are doing. So what am I doing now? I'm going public and saying, hey, this is what I have to accomplish by next Sunday. I have another goal that I have to accomplish as well. I started a YouTube channel. And in order for you to be able to personalize with YouTube, you have a URL with your channel. And in order for you to be able to customize your channel, you have to have 100 subscribers, right? So as of today, I'm at 35 subscribers on my YouTube channel. And so I need to get 65 subscribers by the end of this week. So I have 2 major goals by the end of this week. The number 1 goal is to record 11 videos by Sunday. And the second goal is for me to get 65 additional subscribers so that I'm able to customize the URL for my YouTube channel. And so as you can see in this video, I've actually put the link to my YouTube in order for you to be able to subscribe to it. And so I'm actually going to ask you all to help me out when it comes to accomplishing one of my goals for this week. And I'm going to ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're on Instagram, I have that in my bio as well, the link for you to be able to subscribe to my channel. But those are my 2 major goals for this week. But I want to ask you, what are your goals, right? I've made it public. What are my goals, which is recording these videos and to actually get 65 subscribers on my YouTube channel. But I want to ask you, what are your goals? What are your goals? Have you created an additional sense of urgency in relation to your goals, or have you allowed yourself to have more patience than you need to have when it comes to that goal? Like, if your dreams aren't costing you anything, what are you going to gain? Right? If your dreams aren't costing you anything, what are you going to gain? And what I've come to realize is that when there's not anything up to lose, then there's really nothing that I'm going to gain. I don't put in the work that it takes to gain because I don't lose anything, right? I just move on to the next week with the same goals. And we've had too many weeks of having the same goals, and we've had too many years of having the same goals to not put in the work, right? To not put in the work. And not only that, you owe it to yourself to say, man, if this is something that I want to do, then what am I willing to risk? right? What am I willing to actually put something on the line that says, hey, I need something else to hold me accountable, to keep me committed to these commitments that I say that I have. And when we do that, then we'll find ourselves being able to wake up in the mornings and actually say, man, what have you done today? Right? What have you done today? Right? Even on that, what have you scheduled to be done? Right? When you have these things that you're saying you're committed to, are you putting it in your calendar to say, hey, this is the time that I'm actually going to go for and do this today? Because I can just say that I'm going to record 11 videos this week, but how many videos do I need to record every single day in order to get that done? There's 7 days in a week, right? So I can say, you know what? I have to record 2 videos every day. If I record 2 videos every day, that means by Friday, I will have 10 done. And that means on Saturday that I can complete the 11 videos. Like, a lot of times we need to have a system that's in place in order for us to allow us to actually get these things done. And that's one of the things that I was talking to my cousin about earlier today. We was talking about his process that it takes in order for him to complete what he does within his business. And I said, man, like, when you understand the process that it takes in order to get something done, you'll realize how unproductive you are, right? So we went through his process. It takes him two days to do the writing portion of his process. It takes him 2 days to record the second stage of it. It takes him 2 days in order for it to be like mixed and mastered, because he's in the music business. And it takes 2 days to get mixed, and it takes 1 day to get mastered. So with that particular schedule, that means that he can put out 4 songs a month. Does that make sense? He could put out 4 songs a month, and now he knows that that's the amount of output that he can have. So if he does not put out 4 songs every month, then now he can say, like, why am I not doing this? Right? Why am I not allowing myself to be committed to my process? And why am I not staying on track when I know the process only takes me 7 days to do this? Why is it taking me 21? You know what I'm saying? Now you can have your own accountability. You don't need anybody else to say, hey, Daniel, why aren't you doing that? Right? I don't need y'all to reach out to me and say, hey, man, why haven't you recorded those 11 videos? When I know my own system, when I know what I'm capable of, that I don't need any external accountability. All my accountability now comes from within. And that's the thing that I want to share with you all when it relates to this particular topic. What does it cost you if you don't do it? What does it cost you? And a lot of times we're not going to accomplish the things, we're not going to gain what we want to gain out of life if we don't lose something, or if we aren't willing to lose something in the process. You have to be willing to lose something in order to gain. Like I said the last time, everything you want is on the other side of a sacrifice, what you're willing to sacrifice. And a lot of times we don't sacrifice what it takes in order for us to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish within our lives. And if we don't sacrifice what's necessary, we won't obtain what we're trying to accomplish. Does that make sense? If we don't sacrifice what's necessary, we will never obtain what we're trying to accomplish within our lives. And what I truly want to accomplish is for individuals to really wake up and see that it's possible for them to achieve the goals that they have for their lives. Like you can do what you think that you want to do, but it's going to take you actually waking up in the morning, like putting something on the line, holding yourself accountable to what you say that you're supposed to be doing in order for you to put the work in that it takes in order for you to do it, right? You have to be willing to risk something in order to get it. And if you're not willing to risk something, you now have to question if you really want it, right? If you're not willing to risk something, you have to question whether or not do you really want it. And that now becomes one of those things to where we have to look in the mirror and say, how bad do I really want it? And as it relates to our goals, we have to want it really, really bad. There's this really viral video with Eric Thomas, and he talks about this concept of how bad do you want it. And there was this guy, he met this very, very successful person, and he said that he wanted to be successful as well. So the guy told him, he said, meet me in the morning at 5 o'clock. And he says, at the beach. He says, all right. He says, I'll be there. So he met him in the morning at 5 o'clock. And when he got there, the man said, you want to be successful? He said, yep, I want to be successful. He said, all right, if you want to be successful, walk out here with me into this water. And he's like, walk out here into the water. Like, what you talking about? He says, walk out here with me into the water. So they go and step out into the water. He said he wore his suit. He said he should have had on some beach clothes, but he walked in there into the water within his suit. And he stepped out there and he said, come a little bit farther. And he said he came a little bit farther and he got until it was about neck high. And when he got there, the guru put his head under the water. And the man is flapping for air. His hands are swinging around. He's trying to breathe. He's like, man. And then after a while, the man let his arms go. Let his head go. And then the man ran out of the water. The guru met him on the shore. And he said, man, what in the world is going on? He said, I have one question for you. He says, when your head was under the water, what did you want to do? And he thought for a second. He says, man, I just wanted to breathe. And he says, when you want to be successful as bad as you want to breathe, he said, at that point, you'll be successful. And so I want to leave you with this. When you want to be successful as bad as you want to breathe, when you really wake up in the morning and say, hey, this is the ultimate desire that I have, this goal, this dream that I'm looking to obtain. When you really want it as bad as you want air, when you want it as bad as you want food, when you want it as bad as these other things that you have as wants in your life, when you want it that bad, that's when you'll be successful. But it's not until that point where you'll find the success that you actually want in life. It's not going to come on the other side of that desire. It's just not going to happen. And so I want to leave you with that. When you want it bad enough, you'll put in the work that it takes in order for you to accomplish it. So I'll leave you with this. What are you willing to risk to get it done? That's what I'm asking you. What are you willing to risk to get it done? Make it public, right? Call some of your friends. Tell them, say, hey, man, this is my goal. This is a goal that I want to accomplish. I want you to hold me accountable to that goal. How are you going to make them hold you accountable to it? You got to put something on the line. What are you willing to risk? I call this the Cash App accountability. I want you to say, hey, if I don't do this, and put a timestamp on it, because a lot of times we don't have timestamps as it relates to our goals. Put a timestamp on it. Hey, I'm going to accomplish this by this date. If I don't do it, this money is yours. So I want you to cash out them the money in advance. So if it's $100, say, hey, I'm going to, this is what I got to do by Sunday. Like I told you, I got to record 11 videos and I got to get 65 subscribers by Sunday, right? And I've cashed out him $500 in advance. And if I don't do that by Sunday, the money is his, right? That's on me. I didn't care about my money enough. I didn't care about my goals enough. I didn't care about my dream enough in order to put it into work, right? So I want you to have that same level of accountability with yourself. I want you to cash out somebody in advance. Say, hey, here's $100. Here's $200. Whatever is enough for you to make sure that you have enough skin in the game, right? I don't know your pockets. I don't know your wallet. So whatever it is, it could be 50, it could be 100, it could be 500, it could be 1,000, it could be 10,000. I don't know what your wallet is, but whatever it is, I want you to cash out them in advance and say, hey, this is the date that I'm supposed to have this done. And if I don't do it, then it's yours, right? Now, obviously, you got to do this with somebody that's got some integrity, right? Because they may just take your money and run, and you obviously don't want that. So you got to make sure they're really your friends, right? You got to make sure they ain't just going to run off with your money. But you got to put your feet to the fire, because you got to be willing to risk something in order for you to get done. So I want you to make it public. I want you to have some accountability. And I want this week to be the most successful week, the week that you accomplish more than what you have in your past week, because it costs you something in order for you to get everything that you want to get done. So I'll leave you with where I began. What is it going to cost you, right? What does it cost you if you don't do it? Now go out there and get it done. I appreciate you all for tuning in. You all have a great day. Be blessed and make this week a productive week.